What's up guys, Sean Alawani, RealScienceAthletics.com. Continuing on with this little home quarantine series here because that's the situation that the vast majority of people watching this video are currently in. And today I want to talk a little bit about the best way to approach your nutrition plan during this time and answer the question as to whether you should bulk, cut, or just maintain at the moment. So this is of course going to depend on the individual. It depends on things like the quality of your training program, your food availability, your mindset. So let's go over a few points here so that you can decide what's best for you. So first things first, if food availability is not an issue for you and you want to continue bulking or continue cutting during this period, the first thing you need to make sure of is that you have a proper training program in place first. Okay, this is very, very important. I talked about this in my last two videos, but that means you're continuing to train your entire body. You're taking the majority of your sets about 1 to 2 reps short of failure using sufficient weekly volume. I think around 8 to 15 direct sets per muscle is enough if you're truly training hard. And in the case of a bulk, you also need to make sure that you're continuing to strive for progressive overload over time. And in my next video, I'll be going into more detail on exactly how to do that if you only have access to minimal weight or even just your body weight. Making sure that your training program is properly laid out and properly executed is extremely important because if you attempt to eat in a calorie deficit or a calorie surplus, but you don't have a proper training stimulus in place, you could end up doing yourself more harm than good potentially. If you eat in a calorie surplus, but your training program is weak, then the muscle building stimulus won't be strong enough, and that will cause your body to divert a high amount of those extra calories toward your body fat stores rather than toward muscle growth. On the other hand, if you eat in a calorie deficit, but your training program is weak, then you're going to be putting yourself at risk for excessive muscle loss. So having a proper training stimulus in place first and foremost is the most important thing, and you can download my free home upper lower split using the link up here or in the description box below if you are looking for an effective training plan that lays everything out step by step and that can be done at home with minimal to no equipment. Now, if you do have a solid training program in place and you're being consistent with it and you're motivated to continue bulking or cutting right now, then that's totally fine and you can just go ahead with that. About 200 to 300 calories above maintenance is a good range for a lean bulk, and about 300 to 500 calories below maintenance is a good range for a sustainable cut. You don't need to track exact macros. What truly matters from a macronutrient perspective is that you just get in enough daily protein, so around 0.8 grams per pound of body weight or higher. And then from there, your carb to fat ratio is just a matter of personal preference, depending on what you enjoy most and what's most convenient, and what makes hitting your overall calorie needs as easy and sustainable as possible for you. The one other factor I would take into account here is your psychological state. So if this whole situation that we're in right now is causing you a lot of stress, either because of fear of the virus, if you have underlying health issues, or someone close to you does, or maybe you're a healthcare worker, or someone who does have a higher likelihood of being exposed. Aside from that, maybe the social isolation of being quarantined is causing you a lot of mental stress. Maybe you're having financial issues right now. If you are struggling with any of that right now, then you might want to think twice about being in a calorie deficit during this period, because when you are consistently eating below maintenance, that's probably just going to make things even harder, and it'll probably just exacerbate whatever anxiety and depression you might be feeling right now. That may not be true for everyone, and if continuing to push for your fat loss goals gives you a sense of purpose and some structure right now and you find that helpful, then that's your call. But I think for most people, if your mental state is feeling particularly fragile right now, it's probably best not to actively restrict calories and to instead give your mind and your body the calories and the nutrition it needs for optimal functioning. Okay, so far we've established that if your training program is on point and your food availability and mental state is fine, then continuing to bulk or cut is okay during this period if that's what you feel motivated to do. The other scenario here is sort of that in-between gray area. So that could mean, like I just mentioned, you're under a lot of psychological stress right now, or it could mean that maybe you are continuing to train, but your program isn't the greatest because you really are limited on the exercises that you can do, or maybe your food availability is a bit compromised because of financial reasons, or you're just trying to stay away from the grocery store as much as possible, or maybe you are just okay with the idea of doing things at a lower intensity right now until things settle down and the gyms reopen, and you're fine with the idea of just roughly maintaining your existing body composition. Okay, if that's the case, then all you really need to do nutrition-wise is to just focus on two main things. Okay, number one is to not go excessively high or excessively low on calories. And number two is to consume enough daily protein. Okay, the truth is that if you just do those two basic things and you have some type of reasonable training stimulus in place, you're hitting each muscle at least once a week, you're getting at least within maybe 3 to 4 reps of failure on your sets, which is not hard to do, then as long as you don't go excessively high or excessively low on calories and you eat enough protein, so 0.8 grams per pound of body weight daily, which is also fairly easy for most people to do, especially if you have some sort of protein powder handy, then nothing significantly negative is going to happen to you in terms of body composition. Like, think about it. If you end up eating in a small surplus, then your body fat gains will be kept to a minimum and you might even build some muscle if your training program is still decent. Okay, if you eat at maintenance, then you'll just maintain your existing body composition for the most part, and you can just consider this period as being a pause in your program where you're not moving forward, but you're also not moving backward, which is actually a win in and of itself given the challenges that we're facing right now. And then if you end up eating in a small to moderate deficit, then you'll primarily just lose body fat. Maybe a small amount of lean tissue if your training program isn't that great, but probably not much if it's just happening over the shorter term. So the bottom line is that as long as calories don't go too high or too low, and you get in enough protein and you're continuing to train to some reasonable degree, nothing really bad is going to happen. The only way your body composition is going to degrade to a significant degree is if you go excessively high on calories for a prolonged period, in which case you'll gain excess body fat, or if you go excessively low on calories for a prolonged period, in which case you might lose some muscle, or if your protein intake drops very low, in which case you'll also lose some muscle from that. So to sum all of this up, okay, continuing to bulk or cut is totally fine if you're motivated to do that, as long as you have a reasonable training program in place and food availability is not an issue. And on the other hand, if you do want to take things a bit more slowly during this period and you're mainly concerned with not regressing rather than actively progressing, then just aim to eat somewhere around your maintenance calories, give or take, without going too high or too low, and get your daily protein in. Of course, for optimal overall health, if you are still able to, then you still want to try and stick to primarily minimally processed whole foods, getting your fruits and veggies, drink plenty of water. Everyone's situation is different, so it might be easier or harder for some people to do that. But if we're specifically talking just about body composition, period, then total calories and total protein are by far the most important thing. As far as supplementation goes, that can continue on as normal if your financial situation allows for it. If you were previously using a pre-workout, but now your training sessions are a bit lower intensity, then that might not be necessary for now. That's up to you. On the other hand, if you're still training hard, you're going close to failure, and you're actively pushing for more progress, then continuing to use a pre-workout is fine. And then other basics like a multivitamin and a fish oil, those are of course fine to continue with and can actually help to keep your immune system strong right now if you're using proper formulations. It's certainly not some sort of coronavirus cure like I've seen other supplement companies claiming just to try and make a quick buck, but certain micronutrients like vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, those all do contribute to proper immune functioning, and the omega-3 fatty acids in fish oil do as well. I personally take these every day, and Real Science Athletics, which is the fitness supplement line I personally formulated using only research-backed ingredients in their highest quality forms and full clinical doses. We're currently offering a 20% discount on our pre-workout multivitamin and fish oil with coupon code TAKEOFF20. That'll help you access our products at a lower cost during this time where maybe finances are a bit more limited, and I'll keep that discount on for the next week until April 25th. So that's the video, guys. If you have any questions, then feel free to post them in the comments below. Hit the like button if this was helpful, and subscribe to stay up to date on future videos. And you can also follow me over on Instagram as well for more daily tips that will help you get the very most out of your fitness program during this time and moving forward into the future as well. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.